Hello and welcome to another episode of the W12 podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We thought we'd all get together as a bit of an off-season podcast, chat about all things that's been going on over the last few weeks. As ever with QPR, there's tons of stuff to go through. So I thought we'd get together and have a little chat, really, see what everyone's views are. We're joined today by Jack. How are you, mate? Back?
Yeah, good to see you guys. Yeah, very well, thank you. Thanks for having us back on. So a fair bit to go through, and there's some stuff happened. So nice to sort of chat about the R's with you boys.
Well, you got some stats for us today.
As always.
Lovely. We've got the R's, Ollie. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yes, very well, thank you. And then we've got usual suspect, Duncan. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been enjoying the sunshine today, so I'm in a good mood.
It's hot today, isn't it?
It's lovely.
You're always wearing QPR attire. Like, is that like do you just get it out ironed for the podcast, or do you just?
I like to get it out for the podcast to make myself look more professional. But also, I was doing the school run this afternoon, so I thought I'd wear it up there and just like see if any other Ars fans are about. But no one was there today.
Well, you didn't get any URs from like.
Didn't get any URs though. No, I gave one the other day, and I think I scared the kids. So.
Really? You shouted at a kid?
Well, he was a teenager. I just drove past him, and he was wearing the black and gold kit, and I was like, "You are!" out the car window, and he was like, "Ooh!" I don't think he was expecting anyone to shout at him. So, if he listens to the podcast, I apologise. It was me.
I saw someone the other day wearing the pink kit, right, and the orange kit. So the dad was walking down the beach, right? I know, not at the same time. Sorry, let me explain that better. There was two kids, and one had the orange kit, and one had the pink kit. And I just thought, like, that's not two of the most random away kits ever. And he's got his two kids to wear, like, as I said, the pink one. The boy was wearing the pink one, and the girl was wearing the orange one. Not that matters, but I just thought that was funny. But right, let's get stuck in then. So we've got a new manager. Took a bit of time. Michael Beale. It feels like everyone's fairly happy, and he seems like he's got a real good pedigree in the game. Comes with seems like he comes with a good attitude, a good work ethic, and he seems like he's got some contacts in the game already, which looks like we're already seeing. So all systems go, really. I mean, Dunk, what was your initial views?
I mean, like, I'm not going to pretend I knew much about him in the grand scheme of like other managers that we've been linked to. Obviously, he was no one we'd mentioned previously when we were talking about possible options. But like you said, from everything I've read, what other people have said, like players and stuff and other coaches, like I think he's going to be someone on the training ground who's going to be getting the team set up and playing in a certain way. And I think that's what we need on some levels. I feel like we don't, like, for me, I felt we were never defensively organised. So hopefully he can come in and sort that element of it out. But I mean, like I said, we've got to give him a chance, haven't we, to see how it goes. Like, there wasn't many other options out there, so as much as it's a gamble, but every managerial appointment is, I think it's one that could work well. And in a minute, I'm looking forward to the start of the season.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything in that head coach? The change of title. I saw Les Ferdinand say that it's just name only. There's nothing duties-wise. He'll do the same as Mike Warburton. I feel like there's probably more in that. I'm not sure.
Does that go back to like the fact that he's going to be more a head coach? He's going to be a coach, always on the training pitch with the team. Whereas was Warburton kind of more a manager, was doing office stuff and having other people taking the training, and he was just overseeing it all as like a. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of managers don't take training sessions. The coaches do, don't they? And they're not as hands-on. So maybe that's why they've chosen to word it like that.
Jack, what do you reckon, mate?
Well, similar to Duncan, really. I didn't know an awful lot about him beforehand, other than that he was Gerrard's assistant at Rangers and obviously at Villa. But again, like everyone, when his name appeared on the bookies list and he got heavily backed, to listen to all the podcasts, the YouTube interviews he's done where he's talking about philosophies and styles of play. And he seems like an ideal fit for what the board have been trying to promote, in terms of developing players, bringing, players in and developing them up. I think no managerial experience is a risk. It's an obvious risk, an obvious thing to say. and a QPR job. The QPR job is not particularly easy. Are you going to get a lot of time? There's expectations up above. There's expectations on, the fans. So it's a tricky one to come into. I think the club are probably hoping his deep-rooted connections with Liverpool might, yield a couple of loan signings. The same with Villa and Gerrard. Apparently, there was an article saying that he could get first dibs for the Villa players off Gerrard. Love someone like Cameron Archer to come in, ideal profile striker-wise. But yeah, no, I think if he could do what Lampard did at Derby, where he gets those three key loan signings and it transforms the team, maybe that could be good. But ideally, has he been brought in to bring players through? Does bringing in other clubs' youngsters, block the pathway, for our boys if they're any good enough to come through? But overall, I think it's quite exciting. He needed a fresh start by all reports with Warburton. But yeah, I'm keen to see how we set up as well under Bill, because no one really knows, do they?
Ollie, what do you think he needs to do to be a success, or is there anything different that he needs to do as Warburton? Because Warburton did great, but there were certainly some aspects of what he didn't do, or that caused his downfall. How do you think Bill gets off the ground running?
I think he has to use the players that we do have to their best abilities in terms of where they play. Because I felt like a lot of last season, we talk about no plan B Warburton. I think for me, if he can say to, for example, Chris, right, you're going to be here, you're going to be playing here, we want you there, we're not going to be switching you around. There's versatility, and then there's having an identity, which I think we did lack last season. There are a lot of times where we didn't really know what we were doing, because one week we'd be playing quick, pacey football, the next we'd be playing long ball. And for him to be a success, which I think he will, I think it's a great appointment. I think he has to straight away come in and say, look, this is how I want to play. This is how we're going to set up, and give each individual a job. Because this season it's completely different, because it's going to be 5 subs, and it's not going to be about, getting to 70 minutes and then, slows down a bit. You're going to have to be on the ball a lot longer than you would have if it was free, because, the teams that are coming down like Watford, Norwich, not as much Burnley, Middlesbrough, for example, they're up in there. They're going to have squad depth beyond normal measures. So we're going to have an identity that can last 90 minutes rather than have 70 minutes and then be under the cosh for 20.
I saw a bit about how he played when he was his under-23s coach, manager, and how previous teams like Rangers and sort of Villa set up, and it was very much 4-3-3 with wingers and not as defensive minded. Do we have the players for that? What do we need to sort of where are the gaps, I guess, if that's how we're going to play it?
Fullback.
Yeah. That's an issue, isn't it?
No matter what formation we play, we need fullbacks with engines and pace. Because the modern game, that's the way it's going. Fullbacks are becoming just as important as wingers used to be back in the day when it was 4-4-2. So I feel like we need to have people who can get up and down for the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's also why our strikers actually struggled a lot last season, because with the injuries and everything that happened, we kind of lost our identity mid-season and struggled to create chances, and we never really recovered that. And as you spot on, a first choice left back and a first choice right back, ideally with pace, or at least one of them that can really cross a ball, because we've not had, a left back that could cross Manning, and he wasn't really a left back, and that was really key for Hugo and Wells, having that sort of service from one side. If we can sort of get another fullback that can really cross, and then, with pace, ideally, that would be superb for us, because you're right, judging by how Villa and Rangers have played, fullbacks are absolutely key to the system.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think if we have 2 good fullbacks, we're in a much better position. For me, it's going to be controversial, but I would personally get rid of Dykes and invest in a striker, because we talk about giving him chances. Yeah, he's had a lot of chances. Yeah, he scored 12 goals the other season, but he is. I saw I think it was Neil Warnock saying about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's the type of striker that needs all the work done for him. He can't create his own chances, and that's for me very similar to Dykes. I think we need a striker. I think we need fullbacks, and for me, if we're going to be playing a 4-3-3, most important things that we need is an attacking midfielder. Another winger, because I think Chair taps in nicely in attacking mid. I don't think he's going to be great on the wing in a 4-3-3. So we can get some pace on the flanks, both right back, left back, and either of the wings. I think we could do really well. I really do, yeah.
It'd be nice to play with wingers. We haven't done that for a long time, have we? It doesn't feel like we've had that natural width, that the width has come from Wallace, like, or Adoma, 36, 37 years. It'd be nice to just have that. If, we've been crying out all year for some pace. I think that was one reason why we lost as many games as we did last season, because we just couldn't handle the pace. There were so many games last season where a pacey couple of forwards and we were just completely done. I remember Millwall away, and they brought on this young lad. I don't know how old he was, like 18.
18, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was lightning, and he absolutely killed us. He killed us. We couldn't deal with him. And there's been other games like that. But
you mentioned Adoma, and there's talk about him signing another deal, isn't there? Do you think he's going to be deployed more as an impact winger to come on further up the field?
I think so. Yeah. I think
it's 20 minutes.
I think his right back days are over. I think his right back days are over. But I think it will also bring some experience that we're really lacking, and we need someone in that dressing room. And he just adds to that, doesn't he? I'm sure we'll sign a couple of players, but we've lost a lot of experience, haven't we? In Dog Ball, Barbe, Wallace,
Charlie,
yeah, of course, yeah.
I think like with Adoma, I feel like if 20 minutes to go in a game, either we need a goal or we need to try and settle the game down and protect the lead we've got. It's that experience for both elements, isn't it? Because at the minute he probably is our best crossover ball, even though he's like 36. Like,
I love quickest player.
Yeah, probably. It's just we just need that, don't we? Sorry, we need that kind of experience for the last 20 minutes of games. Like you said, with the 5 subs coming in, gives us that bit more flexibility if we need it. So could be an option for that, but I don't think it's going to be much more than a squad player.
Yeah, and I think since he's joined the club, only Willock and Chair have got more assists than Adoma, and Adoma's got about 10 or 11, something like that. And I think even as a squad player, you say the experience he brings and his obvious ability he's still got, even if he lacks a bit of pace, I think he's useful, and that's what we need. As Ollie says about the subs, we need all those subs you can bring on. Why not have someone like Adoma just there nestled in on the bench?
I was chatting to someone, a friend the other day. I haven't spoken to him since February, March time. He's like, "What happened? What happened?" He was like, because at that time I was telling him that Warburton he was walk on water, and I was saying Adoma's like 36, but he's like 21, and I was telling him all these things, and obviously one of the things I was saying was about Adoma and how good he was, but he just declined so rapidly, didn't he? from late February. I just, again, not just him, there was a number of players, but he was doing so well, wasn't he? And then I remember Coventry away, he was just brilliant. And then, it's a shame. But I think he deserves another contract, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What would you do with Bon? Because I know I'm not sure I would, if I agree, I'd sell Dykes, but Bon, I would look to move on, try and make weight for someone else. If you're trying to go for a striker and down the lower leagues, use Bon as a make weight maybe, because I don't think Ipswich want him. So
I saw it earlier suggested that you see was it Hull bid £3 million for Twine. There was a couple of tweets earlier saying, why don't we someone similar to Twine? He scored goals last season for Ipswich, whether he did go 20 games without one or not, he still got double figures. So, I mean, if you could offer Bon and some money in a deal, I think we could potentially use that to our advantage, because he's still only, 26, 27?
I think Bill's going to have a look at everyone. I see Nico's been called back from Brazil. I think what he'll probably do is blank canvas. Let's have a look at everybody. There's a player in Bod. I've always said it, but he just... whether we can get out of him, whether he's championship level, I don't know. But there's something in there. But I guess it just seems whether he suits the style of play, because on Dykes... I'm not sure. Does he suit a 4-3-3? I don't know. The way.
The thing is, it depends, doesn't it, on what the actual tactics are with it. If it's getting balls into the box, that's what Dykes has been craving, which we've not done.
Yeah.
But if it's Chair on the wing, we all know he's going to cut in, cut out, do a couple of tricks, and by the time he's done that, there's 6 defenders back anyway. Like, he needs to be playing centrally, and we need wingers that are going to want to whip a ball in like first time,
It's
or
a good
have
point.
fullbacks from deep whipping balls in.
Yeah, and for Scotland, he plays in a two, and when his best form under QPR was in a two with Austin. So I think you're right. Is he? We haven't seen the best of him. Maybe as the lone striker down the middle, but it depends how narrow those. If it is two roaming tens, under Bill, cutting in with the fullbacks going out around the sides, maybe having all these players around him could, he could flourish. But yeah, it's make or break season for him, I think.
It'd be really interesting what he does with Charon Willett, because they're not natural wingers, neither of them. And like you say, if he does play two number 10s, which is fine, but that's very similar to. I don't know if that does that work in a 4-3-3. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if more fits a 5 at a 3-5, that's more. That's why Warburton played that formation so much, so he could fit them both in as a number 10 and have them roaming around with the three roles, because they had protection. In a 4-3-3, you don't get that as much, I don't think. But it'd be interesting to see, because you've got to play them, haven't you?
I wonder if they're putting Willock up top, because he did look quite good up top when he played in maybe 1 or 2 games this season. I wonder whether he'll try that and see whether that's something that's possible, because that saves him having to pay more for a second striker. It's worth a go. You never know.
I think we need 2 strikers, if not 3, personally. I mean, and we need one with just pure out and out pace. I know we keep mentioning it, but we can. There's so many times last season we could have got in behind, couldn't we? And we just can't. We just couldn't do it. And it just, when we were against the Kosh, if you could just knock it down the wing, you've got someone who can get on the end of it.
It's defenders something to think about, isn't it? Something different from just a big target man that's backing in, or or just trying to come short. Definitely, I think it's the sort of profile we really need, and maybe that's where the low market comes into play. We get a less experienced striker, but he's got the physical attributes to sort of be used that way.
So first signing, I was hoping that it would be done today so we could chat about it, or at least it can be breaking while we're on, but so far nothing. But it looks like it's done. So Jake Slater-Clark, Salter Clark, what do we reckon?
Well, it's just a basic, straight replacement for Barbie, isn't it? Left-sided centre-back, basically. And, I mean, I love Barbie, but, from what I saw of him last year in the Championship, he's not a bad player. So, it's another option. And, a lot of managers like to have that left-sided centre-back, don't they, for the balance. So, it could be a shrewd bit of business. Doesn't cost us anything, really, apart from wages. So, I think it's a good signing.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think when it comes to replacing Barbe, we've kind of got a carbon copy of Barbe, just 5 years younger. 24 years old, 29 games for Coventry last season. So their fans are furious and complain. Offer them $100,000 a week, paying it, but
haven't we?
Yeah. I think, to be honest, it's a great signing. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be world class. He's going to be this, going to be that, but he's a 24-year-old on the free. He's rated highly by a lot of Championship fans. So not only is it good for potentially, a promotion charge, too early to talk about that, but also return the investment as well. He's going to be, if he does well, he's going to turn into a player worth a couple of million. So I think it's a smart investment.
Yeah, let's just hope he's not on free kicks.
Yeah, I mean, just on him as well, I think Coventry fans seem pretty gutted they didn't sign him, despite his sort of missing a few games last season through injury. But you say profile-wise, he is filling the Barbe void. I mean, I'm not sure I would have. I mean, we don't know the financials of the Barbe situation, what was offered, what was what he would deem acceptable. But I would have kept him. But if finances weren't right, then that's why they've gone that way. But Clark Salter, when he did play, he averaged more tackles per game than any of the QPR centre-backs did in the season. And when you sort of stack him up against the other main 4, so including DeVries, he ranked, second for duels won per game and aerial duels won per game. So defensively, I think he can definitely add something to the team and certainly fill a gap that's, the young left-sided centre-back and with Championship experiences. I think it's a smart acquisition.
On Barbe, I don't know, this is, up for debate, but I don't know if anyone else on here is with me, but I wasn't too disappointed that he didn't stay. I would have, if he did, it would have been great, but I wasn't gutted that he didn't stay personally. I just think it's It looks like we're going to play a 4, and I'm not too sure how good he is in a 4 from watching him historically in a 4. That's not to say he won't, he'll be like that under a different manager. But I didn't feel like it suited him. I feel like a 3 at the back, 5 suited him more out. But I don't know. I wasn't that gutted. We offered him a new contract, new deal. I know it sounds like we didn't break the bank for him, but I don't know what everyone else's views. Was anyone else sort of desperate for him to sign?
I think for me it was for me it never seems to get injured. He's reliable. He's always there. Someone that if you need him, he'll be on the pitch and jumping into tackles. For me, this is again controversial from a lot of point of view. I would probably have been more gutted if we got rid of Geordie than Barbet, because I think Barbet is a lot easier replaceable. Because I think actually, despite Geordie being injury prone, he's had a brilliant season over in where was he? Where was he? Can't remember.
Was it Germany?
Yeah. Yeah, their fans really like him. I think he offers something that none of our other centre backs do. He's a really physical. He's very good in the air. I think for me, Barbet was someone who plays in the 5 at the back because he's got the pace around him from the likes of Dunn. I just think he was going to go. I think we kind of knew he was going to go in January. Rumours have been going to France, but I'm gutted for him that he's left. But I think the right decision was made. Obviously, the team he's gone to and have been demoted down enough league. And
he hasn't signed for them. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised to see him if Warburton goes to Birmingham, which is rumoured today. I've seen. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up there. Because he hasn't signed, has he? It was all apparently done and dusted a week ago, a week or two ago, and he's not heard anything. So I wonder whether.
Yeah, but aren't Bordeaux in a little bit of a pickle in the French?
That's what I mean,
aren't they? Yeah. So it might have been come play for us. We've just been relegated, but you can get us promoted again. And then actually they're now in a bit of bother, aren't they? Aren't they being potentially put down to league, like level 3 or whatever, division 3? Yeah.
I think it's a smart point about Barbet, like in terms of could he really play in a flat back 4? Under a different manager, I would have been quite curious to see if he could have pulled it off, and had he improved in the time he was at QPR to be able to come back and right those wrongs in the early days under Warburton, where he was, pretty bad. But, since he joined QPR to the end of this season, he had the 3rd most interceptions of any player in the league. So he did make a lot of telling contributions defensively, despite some of his, failings at times. But let's see how Clark Salter does, because, he could just be the ideal replacement.
What I've got to say is, with Clark Salter signing, you wouldn't imagine he's coming to play on the bench. And if we're saying that Beale's going to play a back 4, who's he going to be partnered with? Because Jimmy Dunn was sensational, and obviously the club think very highly of Dickie. So who's not going to be starting each week?
That's good for me. Good for me. It's what you want, isn't it? You want 4 centre backs who you don't know who's going to play, and it's up to them to fight it out, and want to be on the pitch and perform. Because I feel like sometimes last season the back 3 picked itself every week, which is a good thing, but sometimes it isn't a good thing because you want people fighting. Do you know what I mean?
Unless one of them's been sold, like we don't know about Dickie. They're expecting Dickie to go or something, or Device to get sold, and they needed that extra body. But yeah, you're right. I mean, how do you fit them all in without playing 3 at the back? And
it's just trying to keep the balance. So I understand what you're saying, Ben, about competition for places, but if you've got, say, it's Dunn and Clark Salter as a back 2 as the 2 choices, Dickie's then next in line. Device is just going to be sitting on the bench, not even on the bench, potentially getting more and more frustrated. Will Dickie, who was touted again to be a Premier League defender, be frustrated at not starting? Is it going to then unsettle the squad a bit and cause friction? Because players are unhappy, aren't they, with not getting enough game time?
Whether Geordie's going to get a full pre-season in him, he comes through the friendlies and is ready to go. I just wonder whether that will sway our mind to keep him, maybe, because he's a good defender, isn't he, Geordie? He is a good defender. It'd be good to have.
Signed, because statistically his numbers are just pretty off the charts with a lot of the stuff. He ranks top against a lot of stuff against the other QPR centre halves, but we all know his main issue. He can't stay fit.
No.
Yeah. I actually think yeah, going back to your point about he wouldn't join to be on the bench, I actually don't think Dickie Dunn or Clark Salter would be at the club still if they were told that they were going to be, one of them was going to be on the bench this season. But I think Geordie wouldn't mind. He knows he's more of a squad player, so I don't think Dunn will go. I think Dickie will be gone come before the season starts. I don't think he would have brought him in unless there was some sort of hint that he might be off. I don't think Dunn will leave because I think Dunn had a great season for us. He enjoys it here. It's a really breakthrough season for him because he's only been at Burnley as one appearance. So I think Clark Salter was probably brought in because Dickie's on his way out.
Yeah, I mean, other rumoured players is Cox on the left. He's a player we've been after for a while, isn't it? Again, not seen too much of him. I've seen some clips of him. He looks like he's got a left peg on him. He looks like he's got a bit of an engine on him. But it looks like, or it seems like we're going to be ramping up that interest. It'd be good to get a left back in, wouldn't it? That's one of priority is a decent left back, isn't it? I think.
When was the last time we had a decent left back?
No, it's a great point. I think back to like Gino Padula and stuff. Like, I don't know, is there been someone before then?
Teu.
Sausage.
We just can't find a decent left back, can we? Who else has there been?
Omar Asuakoto was not decent.
Oh, God,
No.
yeah. I still think Yun was the best left back we've had in years. I think he was deep.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Cox is interesting because he's quite, he's definitely got some attacking instincts. Chipped in with 10 goals in the 3 seasons he was playing in Holland, which was like, their second or third most at Fortuna Sittard. He even assisted Seb Poulter during his time there. So there's a QPR link right away.
There you go.
He's an interesting one. It would definitely solve the need, I think. And they've been after him for a while. Do you remember, was it last season they would need him?
Well, he's out of contract next year, isn't he? It's last season, so it's typical QPR to go in now and try and nab him early doors.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's good. We've got Parrott from Spurs.
Not interested.
Bit of pace, but yeah, he doesn't wet the lips, does he?
I mean, wasn't he on loan at MK Dons last year? He was in League One, wasn't he? He didn't tear up League One. So what's he going to do in the Championship though?
He got 16 goal involvements in 47 games, playing pretty much as a number 10.
Yeah.
So it's not bad, but it was a development season for him. So Championship's a step up, but our links with Spurs, maybe we're at the front of the queue if he's available.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously he added to spell at Millwall as well, didn't he? And didn't play for them at all. They didn't deem him good enough with the other options they had. So I don't know.
He's gone up a level this year, but yeah, you're right. Is he ready for Championship?
I feel like we desperate need of someone who's going to get 15 to 20 goals, and I just don't see it being him.
No,
we've got someone like Dykes who will get 10, maybe 12, but we need someone who's going to push on and get that extra 5-7 goals to really make us drive up.
Still got anything in him? Online or something?
No, I mean, QPR fans love an old player, don't they? Like, we all love it. We all love someone who's done well at the club, but we scored 3 goals last season or something. Bristol City fans saying that I don't know. Maybe a 4th. It'd be quite expensive, wouldn't it? His wages, I don't know.
Yeah, he'd done a lot of money, so I don't think you're in a position to swallow wages like Watford did for Gray for us.
No.
You see, Gray's going to Preston, isn't he? Or that's what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, his goal stats and his record was decent, but I just didn't think he did enough, like in the games, like other than put it in the net is very important, but in the system, he didn't join the play up, and that's quite important, I think, for it all to be quite fluid. But I don't know, on a free transfer on much lower wages, he's proven goal scorer.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of Warburton, in my opinion, one of Warburton's downfalls, just playing Dykes too much and not looking at Gray enough and putting him in. But yeah,
I think Cameron Arch was my one that I want the most. I think
mate, you've got no chance, mate. He just keeps scoring for the under 21, so his stock just goes up every time he scores.
Although that striker Parrott gives me really strong Jack Clark vibes, and I'm not over.
Yeah, you're right, mate. I don't know. It's just tough, isn't it? Because we need a striker, don't we? We need, if you look at all the clubs that went up or were up there last season, they all had a top striker, didn't they? Who was scoring goals. that was one of the things we missed. We said it mid-season, didn't we? We needed Austin or Dykes or Gray to really kick on, and they went backwards, and that was pretty tough to do at that point, wasn't it? Neither of them was banging in the goals. What's the other one? Will Vokes, I've got here written down. Bit of experience.
Yeah, I mean, this again, 5 sub rule, isn't it? Any championship experience to have on the bench would be vital. He might be a bit of a average championship player. A lot of their fans saying that he's League One at best, but he's got a lot of championship experience on the bench in the 80th minute when you need to make that 5th sub to keep it fresh. Why not? He's got the experience, isn't he?
He's very much in the Don Ball profile centre mids, isn't he? He's like ball action, wholehearted. Reading the same descriptions about him, and you think, oh, sounds like Don Ball. And obviously, has a long range shot on him. I think he's one of his best, or most sought after attributes is that he's got a really, really long throw, and it was used a lot at Rotherham, a lot at Cardiff. And I mean, it's an option, as you say, someone that come off the bench has something like that. It's, you're chasing a game, it's quite handy. But I think we still have quite a few centre mids on the books. So
yeah,
are we going to loan out people? Is Dazelle going to go out on loan? I wouldn't have thought so. So there's already 4, isn't there? First teamers: Amos, Field, Johansson, Dazelle.
Yeah.
So no, he's a good championship player, like, as you say, but does he want to come to sit on our bench? It's another one like that, because he's doing the same at Cardiff.
Yeah. And there feels like there's still a lot of stuff to sort out at QPR. I don't know about anyone else, i.e. his coaching team or staff, the current coaching team and staff that are there. What's going on with Eustace, Bamfield? The friendlies. We've already announced 2, haven't we? Is it normal for them to take this long? I was thinking about it yesterday.
Yeah. Wonder if he's waiting to see if Eustace will join Warbs wherever he goes.
Yeah. Like I said, they were saying that obviously Birmingham are after Warburton, so Eustace and Bamfield would probably join them, wouldn't they? But I'm surprised we haven't heard on Beale's coaching staff yet.
Yeah.
So with Diang, is there any worry that any of these players are going to leave? I guess that's a real worry for me. Is players like the core, like Diang, Dunn. You got Dickey, I know, but he's Chair, Willock. Is anyone worried about losing any of them?
I think it's good. It's good for the club, though, isn't it? We need to be doing this. We probably pushed the boat out wages wise last season, and I think we've got to rein it back in a bit potentially. And if we can shift, I'd only want to sell, maybe one of them for there's a cut. It's out of Dieng, isn't it? Dieng, Dickey, Chair, Willock, one of those maybe for a bit of money and just reset the books a little bit if that's what's needed. But I'm not worried, but I think we need to sell one just to give ourselves a bit of money to play with in the replenishing the squad as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I think our most strongest area is probably centre back. So if we were to let somebody go, like if we were to lose Dickey and get some money in for him to balance the books, I don't feel like it's the one that we'd miss the most. I feel if we were to sell a Chair or Willock, I think that would really impact the team going forward. And I think they're the ones we've got to build our team around more so than, say, a Dickey.
I'm thinking about Borough. I was reading some Borough stuff, and they've sold that Spence, haven't they? And their side, they're still also looking to sell. Is it Tavernar as well? So for like 30 million for the 2 of them. That's a lot of money, isn't it? To reinvest in the squad. Not saying that we should do that, but what my point is that a big 10, 15 million is a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we sold Eze for 19. I don't feel like in terms of transfers, I don't feel like we spent a lot of that. It seems to have a lot of it gone on.
It comes yearly, doesn't it? It's not like a one-off payment.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a yearly few million. I think it keeps the club afloat, doesn't it?
Yeah, almost this summer. It's sort of on there. So, yeah.
I feel like Chair could be the one, like a cheeky little foreign club coming in with an offer for him. I don't know why, like a Turkish club or I don't know, like a.
Did you not see a top-end championship? One of the ones that's just come down, like a Burnley or a Watford, or not saying stylistically, but we don't know under company. Maybe Burnley would play that way, but with a lot of money to spend, they need a squad player. Much like Bournemouth in January, where they just raided championship teams for like their best players. I think Chair could. I don't think Chair would get a Premier League move personally yet. I think Willock's maybe a little bit more likely, but if you had to look at them attributes wise. But yeah, I think, you know, maybe you're at risk at losing them to a championship club with parachute payments still.
Watford were interested in January as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just whether they'll have the money or they'd not risk it. But, well, I mean, how much would we want for Chair? I don't know.
Hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so difficult. What, you know,
anything over 10 would be amazing, but that's a fan who knows how good he is, sort of shooting up a bit. We don't know. It might be something like 8 million. You know, it's difficult. It's whatever they want to pay, and if there's more than one team in for it, that's the ideal thing with the Eze thing. I know maybe we hope we'd get more for him, but we had several clubs, West Brom trying to pip it at the last minute, and Newcastle were interested in, and it kind of created a bit of a bidding situation maybe. But
yeah.
Would you keep Moses? I've got Moses written down. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Is he another one? I feel like he could be another one who's waiting for Warburton to see where he lies or where he falls. If he falls somewhere soon, he could be pushed over. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like he'd follow him.
I feel like if you keep Moses, what do you do with Kakai? Like, I think, is Moses going to be our first choice right back with his injury record, or do you keep him and Kakai and you're like, okay, we're going all in on the left back to balance this up a bit?
I think with Moses, he would offer more on the bench to Kakai. But I know Kakai gets a lot of stick. I think that's more because that geezer on Twitter that thinks he's the next coming of bloody Arthur, for God's sake. But I think for me, if we could keep Moses as a bench player, that a backup for a new right back, and I'd like to see Kakai go to League One on loan, just to see whether or not we are wasting our time with him. But he scored the goal last season, didn't he? I can't remember who it was against, but he looks like he's really happy when he's on the pitch. I would like to see him get a chance, but after a loan somewhere like League One.
Not sure he's good enough personally. Nothing against him. He tries hard. He's a good lad, and he it's always that coming through the youth. You want to give them a bit more time, which I feel like we've done as a club. I'm just not sure. I feel like he deserves more than being third choice right back. As in, he could move on, like you say, either on loan or we could try and cash in. And he's an experienced Championship player, defender now. We could get some nominal fee for him, couldn't we? But also, isn't he?
Furlong, we let him go.
Right. No, I think with Furlong, we all knew he had a bit more potential about him. I think like Kakai and Moses are both kind of number 2 right backs. Like, if we kept them both, we're not having neither of them would you say is the standout for being our starting right back. They both have attributes, but they both are unreliable and have that mistake in them. And I feel like we almost need to balance the squad so that we have a decent right back and a decent left back.
Yeah. To be fair, he had a good spell, didn't he, when fans were at the ground, when Todd came still on the back. He had a good little spell when he came in. So maybe it was that unbalanced is. You never know. I think.
I feel like that's the same with Dickie, Dickie was excellent when there was no crowd, wasn't he? Do you remember? But now there's a crowd, he just seems to, I don't know what it is, whether he's a bit more nervous. He does look a bit nervous. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like the ball's a bit of a hot potato, or he always takes that heavy touch, doesn't he? He's always known for that heavy touch that pushes him out. But Jack, what do you think, mate?
Well, on Kakai, I think I actually agree with Ollie. I think the loan. I think he needs a loan because you're right. I'd personally rather, if Moses is available and cheaper than last season, owing to his injury record, it's a no-brainer to get him in on a free if he's available. And then maybe if there's still budget to get a better right back, or maybe loan in a Premier League right back, from a Villa or someone like that can, do a Kyle Walker, so to speak, when we had him. But, chances of that, we don't know. But no, I think I like Kakai. I think he tries hard. Todd Kane had the season of his life at Coventry, statistically, but I still think it was the right call to get rid of him. Yeah. But Kakai looked all right in a back 3 on the right. I thought he looked okay there, maybe a little bit more natural than he did as a wing back. I think as a right back, I think he's solid as a backup. He's useful. And he's come through the academy. It's what they're trying to preach and promote. So he's kind of their flagship one at the moment, isn't he? I'm not sure they'd get rid of him. So maybe that's why we're not gone in for Moses. We see Kakai as the backup to whoever they can bring in front of him. But he's all right. That's all I think. I think he's all right. I don't think he's anything outstanding, but he's a good squad player now, experience-wise.
I'd like to see Luke Amos kick on next season. He's a good player, isn't he? One that doesn't get forgotten, but he's someone who, if he goes up another level or another step, he could be really handy in the Championship next season. Couldn't he, as a goal scoring midfielder? Because he gets in the box, doesn't he?
Yeah, I actually think he's, obviously when he originally came in, we paid him in a more defensive midfield role, but he's better as an attacking mid. I was at Peterborough, well, not at Peterborough, I was at the game against Peterborough, and that was a nice finish. Obviously, the game went completely. That was what a waste of time going there was, but he scores goals, and I actually think that in terms of having a midfielder like him, he's quite rare because not only can he finish and he's got a bit of pace about him, but he's quite physical as well, which is normally the attacking mids are quite lightweight. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely someone that has the potential. He just needs to stay fit.
Yeah, I think you're right. Attacking mid, I think, is the way to go for him. I think Warburton used him as one of the pressing 10s, didn't he? And I think it suited Amos because he could pounce and get in there. But I actually think he's shown a real aptitude for that run from midfield, from deep.
Number 8 role, isn't it?
Yeah. And that is a valuable thing as a midfielder. To add that to your game is, that's a gold mine potentially. If he can kick on, as you say, it'd be brilliant. Get 8 to 10 goals from midfield. That'd be fantastic for him.
Yeah.
Warburton really struggled to find that midfield partnership that worked all season, didn't he? Johansson, Field, Amos, Dazelle, Ball. They never felt like there was ever a solid 2, really, did there? Like Field and Amos. Do you know what I mean? Like we had 3 of them all in at one point. So it'd be interesting to see what Bill does with the options and how he plays them and who's in, who's out.
Well, if he's going to play the 3, we've got perfect links, haven't we? But either we can have the engines of Field, Dazelle, and Amos, and have that young, energetic midfield that will press. Or if he wants Steph in as the experienced head, get his foot on the ball and slow the tempo down, he's got that option as well, hasn't he?
Yeah,
so I feel like
to really improve, doesn't he? Steph needs to really, really kick on this season.
I feel like having a 3-man midfield might give him a little bit more time, a bit more space on the ball to dictate play. I feel like sometimes in the 2, we will always be an overrun in midfield. So whenever he got the ball, he either had no option to pass it, or he had somebody pressing him straight away.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Johansson, I think Ian McCulloch said that he barely trained since November. He wasn't fit. I think fans got to remember that he wasn't fit. And when he was on the field, it looked like something was off of him, didn't it? You guys
looked like he was injured,
and he
hobbling.
Well, he was. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I think maybe he's at his age, a bit of time to recover fully. I mean, it's not the longest turnaround pre-season again, but hopefully he's over the injuries and hit the ground running, and we see the Steph we saw when he first joined, because he was one of the best midfielders in the league. So fingers crossed he does come back stronger, because I think he's on decent wedge, isn't he, compared to the rest, maybe.
Yeah.
We kind of need his experience as well. We've lost a lot of experience, and I feel like we kind of need him really in that regards in the dressing room. And he's not captain for no reason, I guess. Warburton saw something in him. He must be doing something to be able to warrant that. He's a Norway captain as well.
If he's fit, he's still the starter, isn't he? Surely, if he's fit, but he's got to get fit.
Yeah. Couple of things to end there, which I don't know if anyone's seen. Training grounds, which is really important, isn't it? I think Ollie, you were saying that you had a couple of players not wanting to come to us because of our poor training facilities at Harlington, but moving to Histon seems like it's going to be a big benefit with the pitches, and I think it's next season we officially move there, don't we, as in a academy, and we move into the new proper headquarters, as they call it, but that'll be good, won't it? Benefit, stop the injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason, isn't there, why we, I've got injuries written down, but our injury list last year was atrocious, wasn't it? I mean,
it was a complete contrast, wasn't it, to the year before? We didn't have a lot of teams suffering with COVID that first season, I think, behind closed doors, and we seem to be pretty unharmed by it. But yeah, this year, all the same sort of it's like hamstring pandemic, wasn't it? The amount of injuries we were getting with soft tissue injuries, they call it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that can be down to dodgy training pitches. So you hear like, what was it? Sheffield United was saying that their training pitch was awful. They like whoever went in after Wilder was like, I want it dug up, because they said they were getting so many repetitive injuries of like muscle strains because they were almost running on like a bog.
Yeah.
Like, so obviously having a good training setup is important, and I feel like once everyone is under that one roof, we're not got like the under 18s here, the under 21s, under 23s here, first team here. If it's all in the same building, all in the same setup, that's only going to breed success in that level, isn't it? Which is what the club want, which is what the board want, is for that academy aspect to be thriving. And that only works when academy players are mixing with first team players and seeing how they train.
Yeah, long term of the club, isn't it? They've been wanting to do this for a long time, and it's great that it's finally taking shape. And yeah, compared to Harlington, night and day. And they made that very apparent in the video, didn't they?
They did, didn't they? Yeah. They said that the players are all in like they had to get split up and in 2 different dressing rooms. Like, what the hell was that about? That doesn't help, does it? Pitches look lovely though. They said he got unsoil heating and drainage, which we didn't have at Harlington. So that's got to be a benefit for Bill, hasn't it, when he comes in? What about Loftus Road then? Back? How are we feeling? Everyone?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great job. I think, despite the fact it was called the Kine Preservation Stadium, I think we all still called it Loftus Road. But I think it was amazing, and it was a great gesture from the club, and back to basics now.
Yeah. I mean, they did you see the unraveling of it where they just tore it down and then they put the new well, that was quite funny. They just put the new Loftus Road up. But I just feel like it's just good to have. It's Loftus Road, isn't it? You know, that's just
exactly.
You know,
that's what makes it feel home.
It didn't feel right calling it that, although it was for a great cause.
No.
You know, but it just sometimes it just didn't feel right when you hear reporters saying, "Oh, we're going to go off to the Prince Foundation Stadium." It just didn't feel right. So it's good to have it back, I guess.
Yeah.
So quickly then to end, how many signings do you think we're going to make?
How many are we going to make, or how many do we need to make?
Well, answer that. How many do we need, and how many do you think we'll make?
6 we need. I think we'll get 6. Yeah, I'm confident.
I think we definitely need fullback on both sides, at least 2 strikers, and at least another pacey winger to give us an option of playing a slightly different formation. So yeah, I reckon at least we need 5 or 6, and I'll be happy with 4 of those.
Yeah. Again, not offering too much of a different opinion now. I think 5 or 6. I think striker with pace, absolutely nailed on. If there's one available, if we sell Bon, then I want to see another striker that can actually hold the ball up and win a header. You know, like, I'm not saying Dykes, but he's kind of like he's quite hit or miss in the air, but he's quite good at running the channels. So he's a slightly strange striker in that regard. He's useful, but I'd rather a more conventional like guy that can win a header, hold the ball out back in, because we haven't had one of those since Helgeson, really, and that made such a difference to the way the team play. Fullbacks with pace we touched on. I think a winger with pace. I mean, obviously he's going to have a look at Shadipo, but we know his track record.
Yeah, Shadipo. Get by him.
I don't know if he's the answer, but it's now or never again for him. He's getting on. 20. These players are not youngsters; they're like mid
27.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I think fullback, striker, and if we can get another number 10 in that can offer something different to maybe George Thomas, that'd be good.
George Thomas as well. He needs to kick on as well.
Yeah.
I honestly think there's going to be a massive turnaround. I think we're going to sign 9, 8, 9, 10 players. I honestly do. I honestly do. I think we will. I honestly do, because I feel like we already need.
Who are we letting go then? We're letting more go?
Well, Bill won't fancy everyone, will he? Like, that's just natural. A manager won't fancy everybody who's there. Like, he won't. So there'll be players leaving who will need replacing.
Yeah, but you can't get rid of everybody in the first window, can he?
We've lost loan windows. 3 or 4 loans will come in. I've got no doubt about it. We'll sign 2 or 3 frees. We'll get a couple in. We're talking 10 new players, mate. I think that's what will happen. I'm not saying that's what needed to happen, but I just think the turnaround will be quite epic. I think, and to play in a completely different way. These players are suited to to a five at the back, aren't they? Three centre backs.
Well, I think the difference now, Bill has a really decent nucleus of a squad, like a good spine. He's got pretty good players. It's not the most in-depth squad in terms of quality, but there's a good nucleus to build upon. And I think that's why we're sort of saying 5 or 6, but you're right. We're not taking into account players that might go still after we see them train. So it's, as you say, it's QPR. Like every summer we sort of turn around 9-10 players. So yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah. All right, lads. Well, look, cheers for joining. We will have another catch up probably in the off season in a few weeks. See how we lie.
If we get a marquee signing in, we'll have to do one, won't we?
We will. Yeah. Or if we lose a marquee, someone.
Yes.
Someone.
Yeah. you be the negative one. I'll be the positive one.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. But cheers for joining, lads, and have a great evening. Speak soon.
Yeah, cheers, lads. Nice one.
Cheers, lads.
All right, take it easy, guys.